Hi, and thank you for watching. Today we'll do 15 minutes of training on silk reeling, Chen style Tai Chi Silk Reeling. So it begins with a warm-up, loosening up the joints, circling the wrists one direction, circling the other way. Elbow rotation, circling the elbows, circling the hands, also relaxing the hip joints, opening across the front of the shoulders. Shoulder circles. Going the other way. Good. Swinging the arm. Bringing the arm up past the ear, close to the side of the head, if possible. Other direction. Switching arms. And going the other way. Good. Elbows, each move twice, elbows and then arms. Then up and down, and switch. Elbows, arms, up and down, switch. Elbows, arms, up and down, switch. One more. Elbows, arms, up and down, and switch. Turning the waist twice to each side. Swinging the arms, tapping the torso. Hip circles, relaxing the ankles, relaxing the hips. Other direction. And knees. Other way. Ankles. So with the warm-up, we started at the neck or the wrists, and now we're working our way through shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. Good. Swing the arms, kick out the legs. A little bit of stretching. Feet side by side, legs straight, hamstring stretch. And then heels staying on the ground, crouching down. If the heels pop up, you've gone down too low, come a little higher and keep the heels on the ground. It's not about how low you go, it's about getting that suction through the ankles and stretching out the calves, crouching down again. Good, legs straight. Crouching down. Then bow stance stretch. One leg is in front, other leg is back with the heel on the ground. Body is fairly upright. So on that front of the hip, on the back leg, keeping the body upright allows you to get a stretch and opening across the front of the hip. Switching to the other side, so body upright, heels on the ground. When I come back to the first side again, Let the heel come off the ground. Hands on the knee, both hands on the front knee. Still stretching the front of that hip on the back leg. And also setting into the front hip. Knee or shin should be vertical, so not too far forward. Other side. Good. Kick out the legs. And falling stance. We could spend a whole 15 minutes just on the falling stance and the details of it. Main things, try and keep the body upright. Try and keep the heels on the ground, so weight set back. Roll out the thighs so that instead of this knee rolling in, both knees are sort of pointing up towards the ground as you set the weight down. Only going as low as you have the flexibility for and the leg strength. Switch to the other side, adjust the feet as you need. Remember, this is the warm-up, so no need to do yourself in with the warm-up. Second time, letting the toes come up so that the heel is on the ground, the back of the heel is on the ground, slightly different stretch. And then use the heel of that extended leg, press it against the ground to pull your weight up. Switch to the other side. Same thing on this side. And kick out the legs. Silk reeling is a whole series of exercises for silk reeling that we can do. We'll go through a few of them. And I want to explain some of the things to be looking for in addition to just moving your arm in this circle and that circle, understanding what the dynamics are, what you're training. Though overall, these drills happen from a horse stance, feet parallel. So the toes, instead of splayed out, try to have them so that they're parallel, toes pointing forward as much as is possible. It changes, of course, the alignment in the hip joint when you're here with the knees pointing forward as to compared to the knees pointing out with the feet angled out. So try and have the feet parallel. The weight is shifting from one side to the other. And the other aspect is once it goes to one side, weight over the heel, not on the ball of the foot. When it's on the one side, then keeping everything else in the same alignment or same structure, turn or set into the hip on that side. Shift the weight, don't turn, but shift the weight first, then turn into that hip. Shift, set down into the hip, shift the weight over, weight on the heel, relax the hip, shift the weight down and back, and over to the other side. This sort of figure of 8 motion that happens, one side shift, other side shift, is the engine that drives the silk reeling motion of the hands. So, first and most important exercise is one where the hand is circling in a circular fashion, circling in a circular fashion. If we start here, this would be your left hand, if you're mirroring me. Start the hand at 12 o'clock on the clock. Bring it across, down to the other side, and up. So it's just circling this way. So the circle is, the important thing is to link it to this motion I was just talking about, the weight transfer and the turn the hip. From 12 o'clock, coming over to 3 o'clock, shift the weight to the other side. So if the hand goes over to your left, the weight goes to your right. Bring the hand down to the 6 o'clock, turn into the hip. When the hand gets to that midline, shift the weight, bring the hand up, 9 o'clock. Shift the weight, 12 o'clock. This is the clock face from 12, 3, 6, 9. Right. From here, weight is equal on both legs. Shift the weight, lower the hand. Bring the hand further down, turn into the hip. Shift the weight back, hand rises or drills up. Shift the weight, arm presses out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's less motion happening through the shoulder joint, much more motion happening through the positioning from the forearm and the wrist. There's relatively little motion of the elbow in terms of position in relation to the body because the shoulder isn't changing that much. Same thing on the other side. Shift the weight, lower the hand. Shift the weight back, bring the arm or roll the wrist up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 2 points where we are applying power into the motion. Here, going towards the bottom. Here, going to the top. One is pressing out, the other is directing off to the side or drawing in. These moments are ones where you don't want the weight on both legs. You want it firmly on one side or on the other. If you're here, you're going to press out against this force and you have your weight on both legs. What ends up happening is that the weight goes straight through to your center and pushes you back. Same here, when you're in this position here, providing that push, if your weight is equal on both legs and you try and put that push, you will lose your center of gravity. You will lose your balance. So the whole timing of this is to make sure that when you apply the power, you're doing that as you set into the hip. Set into the hip. When you reposition the hand, that is when you change your weight from one leg to the other. This is to avoid the always talked about double-weightedness. So same timing, motion of the hips and the weight shift, but applied to a different circle, which is here. Both hands, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, not so much a motion through the shoulder, but a turn of the body and a weight shift, turn of the body, weight shift, turn of the body, weight shift, turn of the body, weight shift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is also a folding over or a turning over of the hand, and then an opening out of the hand here. So this rotation through the forearm, or the rotation of the wrist, in all of the silk reeling is something to pay attention to, as well as the figure of 8 motion through the lower half of the body. So minimizing the motion that happens through the shoulder, paying attention to the change in direction that happens through a rotation of the wrist, and the transfer of force that happens as you do this figure of 8. These are the things that you're training with the silk reeling exercise. Very good. I hope that's helpful. Keep training, keep practicing. Take care.